Hi everyone. I'm going to be going over my taxonomy description for quick breads. So for the purpose and scope, this taxonomy can be used to help novice bakers categorize ingredients used to make quick breads. So my first level right here is just a definition of quick breads. So they're baked goods that are often more dense than leavened breads, and leavened breads are made with yeast or eggs, so those are the rising agents in those recipes. Whereas quick breads are denser because they only proof or rise once while they're baking, and they tend to use more chemical rising agents like baking soda and baking powder. The second level down is what I'm going to be defining using these categories. So quick bread ingredients are foods and edible substances that have been cited in recipes. So for our purposes, the oil that is used to create a barrier between combined ingredients and the pan is also an ingredient in recipes. So you just have to make sure that any ingredients that you're citing in this category are edible. So it wouldn't be like a wax paper that you're using. To use this taxonomy, you have to first identify whether or not the ingredient is dry or wet. So that's my next category down. And it's important to use this taxonomy with the original non-combined state of the ingredient. So for example, sugar is often referred to as a wet ingredient while baking cakes because it's supposed to be mixed with other wet ingredients to inhibit gluten from forming. So for this taxonomy, sugar is considered a dry ingredient because it's first dry before it's added to other wet ingredients. Again, this kind of leads back to the purpose of this taxonomy. So these ingredients can be used to make other kinds of baked goods, and I think that this taxonomy will help illustrate that substitutions can be made for the ingredients in the fourth categories, which are the flour bases, powdered rising agents, spices, oils, dairy, and non-dairy. Flour bases are powder or ground grain like wheat, barley, or rye. And powdered rising agents, these are normally chemical rising agents like baking powder and baking soda, but this category also includes other natural rising agents like powdered milk and powdered buttermilk. Spices was really interesting because they can also be seeds, fruit, roots, bark, or other plant material used for flavoring, coloring, or preserving quick breads. So these can take a variety of forms, crystallized like sugars and salts, and powdered like cinnamon and confectioner sugar, or it can be in its original state like a peppercorn or a coriander seed. Oils is the next category, and these are usually greasy, and they're usually a viscous liquid. So that means that they're thicker, from plants, animals, minerals that don't dissolve in water. Dairy is the next category down under the wet ingredients side. So those are ingredients that are produced from the milk of mammals like cows or goats. And then the last category is non-dairy. So those are liquid ingredients that don't fit underneath the dairy category because they don't have milk from mammals. And then each of the white boxes here is an individual ingredient from one of the recipes that I cited in my original schema description. So this kind of helps you identify that if you take out a flour base, that would be like an all-purpose flour, and you substitute it with whole wheat flour, that's perfectly fine. And then you just have to make substitutions under those specific categories. You can't cross categories. Thanks for listening. Let me know if you have any questions.